Hi guys! So I decided to do a draw my life. So I really hope you guys enjoy it, and it took me extremely long to film this video just because I'm not really talented at drawing, but I really hope you guys enjoy it anyways. So getting on with the story, my mom was actually born in the Philippines, and she's actually full Filipino, and my dad was actually born in the US, specifically Iowa. My mom wanted a better life for herself, so she decided to move to Oceanside, California. And my dad was actually in the military, and he actually got stationed in Oceanside, California. So, yeah, how they met, they actually went to Del Mar Fair with their friends. And Del Mar Fair is in San Diego County, and it's a fair that they have every year, and it's supposed to be pretty big. But yeah, they met, and I guess they really liked each other. They were together for a year and a half and decided to get married. And they actually got married in Vegas, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, 3 years later, they actually had my brother, and that's supposed to be an S after the year. But yeah, they had my brother, and another 3 years later, they had me, and they named me Jessica. So I was actually born in Oceanside, California. I wasn't a California girl for too long because after 6 months of being born, my dad actually got orders and we got stationed to Jacksonville, North Carolina. So my mom and I were in one car and my brother and dad were in another car, and we basically took all our stuff and we left Oceanside, California and drove all the way to Jacksonville, North Carolina. We stayed in North Carolina for about 3 years until my dad actually got orders again to go to Okinawa, Japan, which was overseas. So we had to fly everything to Okinawa, and I did a lot of traveling when I was little, but I don't remember much. But all I know is I started kindergarten in Okinawa. It seems like everything went down the hill when my mom and dad and all of us moved to Okinawa, Japan. They began to fight and argue a lot more than usual. What was really weird is that I don't remember much about my childhood because I think as I was little, I tried to ignore the negative things and just block them out and just concentrate more on the happy things. But they argued a lot. If it wasn't one thing, then it was another. So it was a very weird environment, and I don't really remember my mom and dad being together, which is really crazy, but they argued a lot. So my mom and dad actually decided to separate, and they divorced a little bit later, but my mom, me, and my brother actually left Okinawa, Japan, and left my dad and moved back to North Carolina. There is more to them getting a divorce that is more personal, but yeah, it was really sad to leave because I didn't know really what was going on. I was a little confused because I was still a little kid, but we moved back into our old house and it got repossessed because my mom couldn't afford it, so we moved into an apartment. One memory that I can remember back at my old house is me and my brother loved to ride our bikes, and I was actually still in training wheels, and my brother and his friend were racing, and my brother ran into me. He likes to say that I ran in front of him, which I didn't because I know I wouldn't do that. But yeah, we basically got scratched up, and I actually split my chin, and I actually had to get 7 stitches on my chin, and the battle wound is still there, so you guys can probably see it if you look up close. But I was bleeding a lot that day. Another memory I had from my childhood was I was in love with Barbies in the color pink. I had Barbies everything. I had like a 3-story Barbie house, I had a Barbie car and the ones you actually drive in, and a Barbie boat. So I was pretty much a girly girl when I was little. Elementary school came, and I actually attended elementary school in North Carolina, and I didn't really have a problem with making friends, but I did struggle a lot with doing my work and concentrating and doing homework. But later on, I actually concentrated on that. But fourth grade summer, actually, I had to get surgery. I was actually born with a heart murmur, which is just simply a hole in my heart. And the doctor said that it would go away as I got older, but it never did for me. So the doctor had me get surgery, and they sewed up my heart, and I still have the battle wound today. So if you guys ever see the scar in the middle of my chest, you guys know that I had heart surgery. While that was going on, my mom actually struggled with having money and being a single parent. It was tough on her. We actually still lived in the apartment, and it was just a bad neighborhood where we lived. We got broken into like 3 times and our stuff stolen, but yeah, and I actually shared a room with my mom, and my brother had his own room. But my mom worked her ass off to give me and my brother everything that we needed. She managed to balance me and my brother and have a job, and she also managed to have dinner on the table and to wash our clothes, clean. She basically did everything for us, and she is one of the most hardworking people that I know. And yeah, she struggled, but she made sure to do everything she could to make us happy, and she's honestly one of the most amazing people. And middle school actually started for me, and middle school is probably one of the three of my favorite years ever being a little kid. I actually met my best friend Janelle and my best friend Cami, who I still talk to today, and I still Skype with them and talk on the phone. And Janelle actually came to see me on my graduation, so it's cool to keep in contact with them after all these years. During 8th grade year, I never really had trouble making friends just because I knew either my friends from the beginning of middle school or the beginning of elementary school. And I always made decent grades during school. I actually just made pretty good grades. And I really had to step back and ask myself, was I really happy? During the time, my mom and I used to argue all the time and disagree. I think it was too because I was becoming a teenager and I was rebelling, and me and my mom were just stressed out. She was a single mom, and she always had to worry, and we were struggling. And I never got to actually be a kid. I always had to worry about either her or like money. So one day I was actually talking to my dad on the phone, and he always asked me if I ever wanted to live with him, that I could. And it stuck in my mind for a while, and it got me thinking that I wanted to live with him, and he was okay with it. During the time, my dad was still in the military, and he was still getting stationed everywhere, so we never really got to see him when we were little kids, but I always had a strong and close relationship with my dad. Since my mom did have custody of me from the divorce, my dad had to go back to court and file for custody of me, and I had to tell the judge that I no longer did want to live with my mom and I wanted to live with my dad. And so the judge approved it, and I ended up packing my bags and everything and moving to Cali. It did become a really hard thing to do because I was so used to living in North Carolina, and just making new friends and going to a new school and just getting used to new things. I really had to adapt to it. And so I made it back to Cali. During the time of the move, it also made me sad that I was leaving my brother and my friends, but I was also sad that I was leaving my mom. Even though I did want to live with my dad, I didn't want my mom to feel as though I didn't love her, I didn't appreciate her. It's just that we really didn't have a close relationship. And which is really crazy because after I did move, we started talking on the phone and we actually bonded, and I felt like we really needed our space in order to have a good relationship. So after I moved to Cali, we talked more than we did usually. I started high school in California and I really didn't have a problem adjusting. It was quite easy, surprisingly. I did make friends during high school, and they weren't the same friends every year. People changed, of course, and that's just how high school was, and I never really had the same friends. And I did get decent grades in high school. I tried not getting D's or F's. Junior year, I actually found YouTube and the whole beauty community and beauty gurus, and that really inspired me. And also, one of my friends also inspired me to do YouTube videos. So I decided, what the heck, why don't I just make my own videos and makeup tutorials and all that good stuff? And the first video I ever made that got the most hits was the Conair wand video of me curling my hair, and it really brought a lot of views, subscribers, comments, and a lot of feedback, and I felt really loved, and it was something that I really love to do, so I decided to make more makeup tutorials and hair tutorials, and I really enjoyed everyone's comments and just motivating me to make more videos. So if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here making a Draw My Life. So I just love the whole YouTube community. Junior year was also the start of my first real and serious relationship. It was actually with one of my friends that I've known ever since freshman year, and we really liked each other, so we started dating. It didn't last. It lasted 3 months, and but we're still really good friends to this day, and he was a really good guy. During senior year, everything was going good with school. I was almost done with school and graduating until I get a phone call from my brother saying that my mom was hospitalized. She was actually diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. So I had to leave school and fly out to North Carolina to take care of my mom. It was really sad seeing her in that state because I always see her being strong and being independent, and just seeing someone so strong at their weakest point was really a breakdown for me. And I had to help my mom shower, I had to feed her, I had to give her her pills, and I was just really heartbroken about the whole thing. But one person that stood by my side was my best friend Janelle that helped me. So during the time of my mom's sickness, the family and all of us decided that it would be best if my mom came back to Cali with us just to have her close and to have people take care of her. So my aunt actually flew out and she took my mom back to California, and I was on a separate plane back to California. It was really hard during senior year because I really had to balance school, and I also had to balance taking care of my mom and visiting her. Throughout the whole experience, it was really a hard experience to deal with just because you don't want to see someone you love struggle and go through something like that. And so a few months later, my mom ended up passing away February 3rd, 2012. And it was definitely hard, but I took a lot from the situation, and it made me a stronger person, and it taught me to never take anyone or anything for granted. A few months later, I ended up graduating high school, class of 2012, and receiving my diploma. It was probably the best day ever, and I was so proud of myself that I made it through high school. One thing that I really enjoyed is that I had the people that have been by my side through day one at my graduation, like my dad, my stepmom, and also my best friend Janelle that came to visit all the way from North Carolina. So I was super happy that she came to see me on my graduation. And even though my mom wasn't there, she was looking down on me. So it was a super happy day for me. And for the present, I am actually really happy right now. I still have my best friends Janelle and Cami by my side, and also Alex Helm, because I know you're watching. So yeah, and I also have my dad, and I'm still loving the YouTube videos, and it will always be my hobby, and I still have school and family, and I'm looking for a job, and I couldn't be any more happier with how my life is right now. Throughout the good and bad, I always had to remember that everything happens for a reason and to trust your struggle. Even though it is bad, it will get better. And I just wanted to say thank you all for watching and supporting me. You guys are my YouTube family. And I just want to say without you guys, I wouldn't be making YouTube videos. So thank you guys again. And it isn't the end. It is to be continued. And I will see you guys with my next video.